Something went wrong. Ferrari won't admit it, but everyone at FIORANO saw it. The SF-26, Hamilton's first ever Ferrari, was supposed to ease into its debut. A short shakedown. A few slow laps. Nothing risky. Instead, something triggered a shutdown. Hamilton coasted into the pits. No smoke. No spin. But no power either. The official line? A normal run. No problems. But footage captured from the outer fencing, along with radio silence from the team since, has left engineers asking the same question. Did Ferrari's brand new hybrid system just expose a flaw before the season even started? Because if this wasn't a mechanical issue, but a software safeguard reacting to something deeper, then Ferrari may have just revealed something far more serious than a simple test glitch. Ferrari's press team didn't waste time. Within hours of the FIORANO shakedown, the official message was live. The SF-26 had completed its first outing. Both drivers had driven the car, and the day was a success. Nothing unusual. Nothing to see. They published a handful of polished photos. Hamilton climbing into the cockpit. Leclerc walking the garage. Mechanics huddled around a car that looked, from every angle, completely under control. But what stood out wasn't what they showed. It was what they didn't mention. There was no lap breakdown. No telemetry snapshots. Not even a single quote from either driver, just generic praise from team management. For a car this important, that's rare. In the modern F1 era, teams don't miss opportunities to highlight progress. When a new car behaves well, even at slow speed, they flood the media with data points, feedback quotes, and carefully planted optimism. But this time, Ferrari said, almost nothing. The statement emphasized the emotional significance of seeing Hamilton in red. It mentioned how the team was looking ahead with confidence. But when it came to technical feedback, deployment consistency, system performance, silence. And in Formula One, silence usually isn't just absence. It's strategy. Because what Ferrari delivered was not a technical debrief. It was a deflection. And the fact that no follow-up information has been released, no Q&A with engineers, no breakdown of what triggered the brief shutdown, suggests something simple. Whatever happened at FIORANO, Ferrari would rather not explain it. It wasn't a dramatic failure. There was no smoke, no sudden jolt, no radio panic. What happened in FIORANO looked almost uneventful if you weren't paying attention. Hamilton was completing what appeared to be his third lap. Not pushing. Just flowing through a systems check, likely within tight deployment parameters. The car came out of the far chicane. And then something shifted. Observers at the braking zone noted it immediately. The SF-26 went quiet, almost too quiet. The kind of silence that doesn't follow a liftoff, but a disengagement. Instead of accelerating down the straight, Hamilton let the car coast. No engine braking. No reg and whine. Just an eerie stillness. And then, slowly, he brought the car into the pit lane. Not under full electric glide, but something in between. Like the car wasn't off, but wasn't fully alive either. What followed was even more telling. The garage doors remained shut for nearly 20 minutes. No explanation. No minor issue tweet. No quick redeployment. And when the car returned, it wasn't Hamilton behind the wheel. It was Leclerc. In a car that, suddenly, looked like it had reverted to a more traditional map. Less aggressive, more stable. It's a subtle moment. But in modern Formula One, those are often the ones that matter most. Because when a car shuts down without failing, it usually means something inside told it to. And that's what no one at Ferrari is talking about. Inside the paddock, two theories are circulating. Neither of them confirmed, but both supported by whispers from engineers tied to supplier networks. The first is the one Ferrari would likely prefer. That the shutdown was a deliberate safeguard. A programmed response triggered when the hybrid system entered an unexpected state. Not dangerous, but outside the margins Ferrari set during bench simulations. Modern F1 power units are incredibly sensitive. And when you're working with aggressive energy deployment, especially under 2026 testing parameters, the software is often more cautious than the driver. It would rather kill the system mid-lap than risk corrupting the data it's gathering. If that's what happened in FIORANO, then this wasn't a failure. It was a digital reflex, a system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Shut itself down when the numbers don't add up. But the second theory is more concerning. It suggests the shutdown wasn't intentional, but the result of a control logic fault. Not a hardware issue, no blown components, but a clash between the car's physical behavior and the assumptions written into its code. In other words, Ferrari may have miscalculated how the energy unit behaves on track versus how it behaves in simulation. And that mismatch? is far more dangerous. Because it means Ferrari's system isn't unstable by design. It's unstable by misunderstanding. And if that's the case, then every kilometer driven under that map becomes a gamble. Not because the car will fail, but because it might not know when to stop. At first glance, it looks like a glitch. A moment. An early test hiccup that will disappear by Bahrain. But what happened at FIORANO might be something much more dangerous. Because if Ferrari's system shutdown was triggered by energy logic, either from a hyper-aggressive deployment map or a software misalignment, then they've done something no other team has done yet. They found the edge. The 2026 regulations aren't just tighter, they're thinner. Less fuel, more battery reliance, narrower windows for energy harvesting, delivery, and recovery. Teams can't overpower the car anymore. They have to outsmart the system. And when you push that system to its absolute limit, you don't see a dramatic failure. You see exactly what happened at FIORANO. A car that shuts down, not because it's broken, but because it got too close to the boundary the rulebook didn't expect anyone to reach this early. And that's the part no one is saying out loud. Because if Ferrari has already crossed that line, even if only for a second, then the rest of the grid is officially behind. That's not just a test issue. It's a warning shot. The first visible sign that the 2026 arms race is already producing systems too complex, too unstable, and too fast for the rulebook to keep under control. If Charles Leclerc had been the only driver in the car when it shut down, this story wouldn't have traveled half as far. It would have stayed technical, limited to a few paragraphs in Italian media. A line about a minor systems check. Gone in a day. But it wasn't Leclerc. It was Lewis Hamilton. And the moment Hamilton stepped into that car, Ferrari lost the luxury of silence. Because Hamilton is the most scrutinized driver on the grid. Everything he touches becomes public. Every hint of dissatisfaction, every facial expression, every clipped radio message is magnified. So when the SF-26 coasted to a stop, and the team went silent, and Hamilton reappeared hours later without comment, that silence wasn't neutral. It was radioactive. It triggered a chain reaction. Speculation from insiders. Analysis from former engineers. Articles questioning Ferrari's control systems, their software philosophy, even their political strategy. And Hamilton hasn't even spoken. Not officially. Not yet. But here's what makes it worse. He doesn't need to. The moment he continues to drive the car, to back the system, to lend credibility to something other drivers don't yet understand, he turns a glitch into a position. And if he wins with it, the FIA will have a problem they can't solve with a clarification. Because the face of that problem won't be a software engineer, it'll be Lewis Hamilton. On camera, in red, winning. Right now, Ferrari's silence is buying them time. No official comment. No revised software map. Just a tightly controlled message. That nothing out of the ordinary happened at FIORANO. But that only works if it doesn't happen again. Because if this system, whatever it is, stabilizes, if it runs clean across multiple circuits, and if it stops shutting itself down, then what we saw in FIORANO wasn't a flaw. It was the first glimpse of a tool no one else has. And that's the real danger. Because every team in Formula One is chasing the same ghost. A hybrid deployment strategy that extracts more from less. And the line between genius and instability is getting thinner by the week. If Ferrari's system just crossed that line, even briefly, then they've done something the rest of the grid wasn't expecting until mid-season. And they did it before preseason even began. But here's the part that really matters. This wasn't a failure. This wasn't a red flag. This wasn't a public incident. This was a car quietly shutting itself down. In a test session with no media pressure, no data sharing, and no real accountability. So now the question isn't what went wrong. It's what happens when it goes right? Because the next time Hamilton drives that car, we may not see a shutdown. We may see something worse. A system that works too well, too soon, and too far outside what the FIA is ready to regulate. And by the time anyone says anything, it may already be dominating the championship.